Hi, welcome to Your Year in Tarot. This is going to be a workshop to plan your year, whether it's your birthday or the beginning of the year, or it's Samhain or some other holiday that you guys might celebrate that starts your year. So I'm going to be breaking this up into 3 parts, I believe, and so that is because the material can get kind of long, and I want to because it's online, I don't want this video to be like 2 or 3 hours long. I wouldn't sit through that, so maybe I would, but I don't expect anyone to sit through that kind of thing. So the first part, we'll just introduce the workshop, and we will be discussing we'll do a releasing on the last 2018 or whatever year you're in this last year. So first of all, I'll introduce myself. In case you don't know, I am Rosemary Maria, and I am an intuitive healer and mentor. So I kind of live in this role of teacher and also healer, as well as so kind of in the role, this realm of practical and magical. So I help people with very practical things like helping them find jobs and deciding what they want to do in their career, but also doing very deep healing using energy work, tarot, breath work, sometimes movements, intentional movement, yoga-based movement, things like that. I teach workshops in person in Kansas City and online, as you're seeing now. I also create resources. I create a ton of resources. So if you go to my website, you'll see a ton of them. I also am making ebooks and workshops, courses, things like that. So I really enjoy making resources that are accessible, that help people. My favorite social media is actually, my Facebook group, but also Instagram. So if you want to see me more like in my, raw thoughts, that's kind of where I am, and that's Rosemary Maria. So tarot, I use it, for everything. So it's a map for my work with others. So the first session, if they were doing like an 8-week program with me, we will do a tarot reading and set goals with tarot, face up, face down. We will use that as it's kind of a way to set up the services. And from there, I do energy work and breath work and all that stuff. It's completely customized based on tarot. So tarot is so important for me. Sometimes people pronounce it tarot. That is actually probably the correct way to pronounce it, but I just want to say tarot, and that's how I pronounce it, so that neither way is wrong, just in case you've been wondering that. I just really don't want tarot to be pretentious. I want it to be accessible. And so the resources I made to go along with this, the ebooks and all that, are for anyone. Anyone should be able to pick up the book, even without a deck, and be able to use the system. Because to me, tarot is a system and a philosophy. You don't have to have all the correct, some people will disagree with the correct tools. I highly suggest getting your own deck, of course, but I know that decks are getting to be pricier and pricier. I will say it is my plan to do a really formal tarot mentorship that lasts like months, 9 to 12 months probably. And in that mentorship, I will give a deck and all that. And that's probably not going to happen until a year after I'm recording this. But that is the plan, because I think that it's a tool that anyone can use and have access to. And for me, I'll give you a background. I have been, aware of cards for quite some time, but I dove really deep when I had my son because it was such an accessible form of self-care for me. I could just grab a card and meditate on it very easily. I didn't have to and I didn't care if he grabbed them as a baby. I didn't have to be have a yoga mat, have complete concentration. I didn't have to have all these candles lit. I could just literally grab a deck and pick a card, and then if he allowed it, I could journal about it. So that's my favorite way to use cards. So this workshop is supposed to be as accessible as possible so that you can literally just pick it up and find out. Like, it's kind of like you would be getting a reading from me or someone else, but you're doing the work yourself and you're diving in maybe even deeper than because you could be using the work that you do in this workshop throughout the whole year. So I wouldn't just stop in this moment and say that that's all you need to learn from the card that is your year card or cards. You will find out you will have more than one. Yeah. So let's dive in. So we're going to be working with the major arcana. So the tarot is typically 78 cards. The major arcana is 22. Major arcana, it represents a hero's journey, the fool's journey they call it, where, if you're not aware of that, it's Joseph Campbell's um, philosophy about the journey of life and how we all have stops. It's not linear. We all have, and we can actually be holding, as you know, living as a human being, you can be holding different spots at the same time. So you can have all these cards represent different moments in your life, and you can have different moments in different days and things like that. The major arcana, though, are major shifts. The minor arcana, which is all the other cards, are the little cycles within the big cycle. So typically, you will be going through a major arcana moment for quite some time, months, but you can hold different ones at the same time. So hopefully that's understandable. The book attached is going to go into more detail what these cards represent. I'm not going to do that, otherwise this workshop will be like 10 hours long, and we just don't have time for that. But you can look into those. Just remember the major means major, minor means minor, big cycle, little cycle. Minor arcana also has different elements attached to it. I will be releasing, well, I have a course up based on the elements and the queens and all that. It's called Self-Care Like a Queen, which goes into much more detail in the elements and energies and all that. So you can look into that. The book also goes into it in pretty great detail. So when all of us have cards that we can either pick. The cards all represent. So if you're working on a certain thing in your life, you know that you are working on completely transforming your life, or you're working on bringing creative project to fold. You can pick a certain card. You can I calculate and pick the card. So the year that this is being right now, I am working with the Emperor, because when I added up my birthday, which you'll find in the book how to do that, I got the Emperor. You just have to make sure that number is under 22. I also believe I'm going to be working, at least for the first season here, with the Magician, taking what I do have, all my resources, and making something with them. So the Emperor is helping me be sovereign, to be powerful over my body, finances, everything, and doing things the way I want to do as a leader, not as a follower. So that's going to be an important lesson for me as someone who, is, so you have birth cards too. So when I say birth card, that you can add up your birthday, and that is also in the book. So my birth card is the Empress. So I'm actually working in something that's completely opposite of me. So I would highly recommend, actually you can even do that now if you're just curious, but we're not going to be working on that quite yet. We're going to be working on 2018. So just for practice, take a moment, you can pause this and add up your birthday and find out your birth card. Your birthday is going to be all the numbers. The way I do it, you can do it another way if you've seen it another way, and that's fine. The way I do it is I separate each and every digit, and I add it up until I make sure it's under 22. So 8 plus 2 plus 9, 8 plus 2 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 2. That's my birthday. So that is my birth card. That would be 30. 30 is not under 22. So I add 3 plus 0, 3. So I get 3 is attached to the Empress. So all the major arcanas have numbers. So if you would take a moment and add up your birth card, that would be just a way to practice and be helpful. And then we're going to get into releasing 2018. So if you have a deck, go ahead and get it ready if it's not already ready. First of all, think about how this last year felt, and just start shuffling. Only use the major arcana really to keep it simpler, unless you really are drawn to one of the smaller cards, because believe me, there's a lot of medicine in both of those. So go ahead and do what you're feeling. Probably work with the major arcana and start sorting your cards, and pick a card that represents your last year. You might find you don't know much about tarot and your heart just leaps when you see a card like, that's my last year. Pick it out, pick 1 or 2 if you'd like. You might even pick a major and a minor. If you have an oracle deck, you can also use that. That is completely fine, and I use them both at the same time. Oracle is different because it has its own system. The creator of the oracle deck um, has their own number of cards, their own words. It's actually really cool, especially if you bond with that oracle deck. It's really powerful just as much as tarot. But I'll be talking about tarot for the most part. But if you only have oracle cards, just do that. So you might pick a card that represents your last year and take a moment, you pause this, and write about your last year in general. Write about how this card represents your last year, and actually challenge yourself to do that before looking at the key that I've included in the book. Just write about what this card looks like, the colors, what you feel from it, why, if you even know why you picked it. And then when you're ready, write about what there is to celebrate. We're going to start with gratitude. Why are you grateful for this last year? Really push yourself. Some of us had really horrible years. I'm sure there's always people that have horrible years. And then want to burn the last year to the ground. But I challenge you, in order to break the cycle of just a negative cycle, there's always something to be grateful for. Always, always. I've seen people in horrible, people I work with, and then in my life who have been through just horrible things who are still managed to be grateful. And it's baffling to me. So I know that gratitude is always possible. So think about things you have to celebrate that you're grateful for. Write those down. And then what it's more easily available to you is, what are things you regret? What are things that you wish didn't happen this last year and things you want to change? What lessons did you learn from those things? And so now we're going to start with our meditation, first meditation to release this. So start closing your eyes, put your hands together, and just place them on your lap. Just breathe in from your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Open mouth, release. 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you can't do that as long, that's fine. Just breathe. I was just trying to give you an idea of how to breathe a little more deeply than you're used to. So breathe in, hold it, breathe out. Do that a few times until you're comfortable. Meditation doesn't mean you have to be still. If you're uncomfortable, please move. Otherwise, you're just going to think about how uncomfortable you are. So I actually made that mistake as a new meditator. I would just sit in the most uncomfortable position because I thought I was allowed to move. Catholic roots, huh? So yes, so just sit there comfortably. Lay down if you'd like. Laying down would be great for this too. If you're in a bath, do that. I'm not much of a rule follower, so it's really comfort and is like the number one thing. So keep breathing deeper and deeper, deeper. We're scanning your body. You might feel, usually you feel maybe some warmth, some like part of you is kind of crying out for you. If you would place your hands there, um, we're going to actually start with what we regret. So think about things you regret. Go over that list and then find a place in your body where you feel it. Usually that would be the heart. I'm feeling it in my heart, the gut, anywhere. Put your hands there, however you can, maybe both places. Might be your shoulder or something like that. Wherever you're feeling it, put your hands there as a comfort. And first, we start with safety. Take a deep breath in and say out loud, I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. You don't have to have your eyes closed. If it feels safe for you to have your eyes open, please open your eyes. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. Now start imagining all those things you regret picturing them. You don't have to process them right now. We do that on paper. So just sit with those feelings. If you ever feel anxious, remind yourself that you are safe and you're here to release these feelings. And actually say them out loud, things you regret. I regret this. I regret that. I regret this. I'll say some of mine for this year. I regret putting my son in daycare where he didn't feel safe. I regret feeling overwhelmed with him at times. Some of these things are completely not your fault, but you still regret them. That's fine. You're not processing, you're just saying them. I just had to remind myself. I regret still being in debt. Right? I resent, you can even change the word, I resent my illness this last year. So just sit, it's not gonna feel nice, just sit in it. If you ever get anxious or triggered, please come out of it. Remind yourself that you're safe. Okay, deep breath in. Breathing in all those regrets, all those resentments, all the yucky, gross, disgusting stuff. Breathe it in, hold it, and then big breath out. Do that for each thing you regret. Some of us might have like 5 or so. If you can't put a number on them, just do it 3 to 5 times. Now remind yourself you're safe. You've released what you can release. You're not thinking about, you're just letting your body release. If there's something about your body that's smarter than your brain, the rest of your body, I should say. They can release things without you actually having to process why or what and how. There's a place for both, and I am a huge fan of therapy. I'm a huge fan of journaling and processing, but allow yourself to have these moments where your body can just feel something and release it. There's some definite power in that. And so, with that breath, what you were doing was letting go. Um, you can even say, I let go of these things, but I just wanted your body to be the one to let go, if that makes sense. Your body to be the one that takes the pressure off you to let go of these things. And that might be obscure, I know, but just allow that to happen. And so now, put your hands on your heart. I'd start thinking about all the beautiful things that happened this last year, even if it's just one measly little thing. Cling on to that one. Most of us won't just have one thing. If we really allow ourselves to think about the year that we've had, allow ourselves to be grateful. There is a resistance to gratitude when we're afraid. So fear tries to prevent us from being grateful because some of us, when things are going too well, we get afraid that the other shoe's going to drop, that something horrible will happen if we're too grateful and if we're too happy. I still have that sometimes. It's horrible. I'm working on it. But yes, I've noticed if I think about one thing I'm grateful for, there's always like one thing that it opens and opens up. I can be more grateful. So really focus on that one thing and let it open you to other things that you're grateful for. Allow yourself to be grateful and remind yourself again You're safe. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe to be grateful. I am safe to be happy. I am safe. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be grateful. Start thinking about all those beautiful things. And start saying them out loud. Thank you. You can be anything, God, yourself, nature, whatever. You could be just thanking yourself as well. So I'm going to start saying mine out loud. Deep breath in, out. And really think. I thank you for my family, my beautiful family. I thank you for the immense support I've received from all the teachers you sent me this year. I thank you for my friends, holding my vision as high as theirs and being supportive. I thank you for my intuition, and I thank you that it's becoming clearer every day. I thank you for allowing us to find a house to live in despite the circumstances. I thank you for our family's support. Thank you for all the skills I've gained this year. And I thank you for allowing me to quit my job, to focus on my son and this work. Take a deep breath in. You're going to want to naturally do that when you're finished. You'll feel it in your body. Take a deep breath in, release, and allow yourself to feel really expanded. You might notice when you get really into gratitude that tears want to come out. That's completely normal and actually really a beautiful sign that you're tapping into like really great gratitude. So keeping your hands on your heart, say it loud. I am thankful and I allow myself to be more thankful. I allow more to come in to both teach me and more to come in to show me how much I deserve. When you're ready, release. And so that was releasing your last year. I highly encourage you to do some processing now that you've released. Do some journaling. Some things might have come up. If you find yourself spiraling back into that kind of dark, murkiness, do this exercise again. Come back to yourself, come back to your body, and let your body teach you and let your body nurture you. Believe me, that's a hard one for me sometimes with it, unless I have to remember that my body can nurture me, actually. So it's been really a beautiful process for me to learn that if I allow myself to breathe through things, my body remembers how to heal me and how to heal emotionally specifically. It's amazing that we can like cry to release, we can cry out of happiness. It's amazing that we can laugh and all those things. That's our body healing us. I know I'm not going to get a live, laugh, love plaque or anything. Who knows what will happen in a few years. But I'm really starting to think that, laughter, tears, all of those things that we do naturally are ways that our body heals us, and to allow it. And so when you're processing, that will happen again. And just remember to breathe through it. And again, remind yourself that you're safe and you have let these things go, that you're just trying to understand them more so that you don't bring them into the next year. So I will be back with part 2. And yes, if you haven't already, you probably should download the book that comes with this. It might already be included depending on where you are in this process. But make sure you have downloaded that book, because if you don't, it might be, especially if you don't know about tarot, this might be a little difficult to wrap your head around at times. And so it will just make things easier. Download the book. And also there should be a forecast either included or for sale separately. I'm not sure where you are in the process. I have goals for this that to bundle it all together. But the book is at this moment separate. It goes over your forecast for your year cards, and gives you journaling prompts and mantras. So if you're in a place where you're wanting to process and you have the card that represented 2018, you can go to this book and use those journaling prompts. So yes, that is it's kind of more for the next year, but you can still use it. And my blog also has free resources for just about every single major arcana card. So I don't know how I did all that last year, but I did. So anyway, we'll be back next time, and we're actually going to be intending the next year, and doing another little breathwork exercise and ceremony. So, all right, thank you guys for listening, and enjoy your new year and your birthday, whatever time it is.